Edinburgh, Bully, Munster and Cork. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Normally I would wear the Munster jersey for this review, but Edinburgh's so good I had to kind of represent them here and wear their jersey instead because they were so good in this game. And, it would have been a real shame, honestly, if they've lost that, even though I was obviously up for Munster, but still Edinburgh absolutely deserved the win there, deserved everything they got out of the game, really. Right from the start, they win an early scrum penalty. Thomas splits the post for 3 points to nil. Munster then win a scrum penalty on the edge of the 22. They kick to the corner. Very rare scrum penalty for Munster. That one, maybe they got 2 in the game, I think. Tom Ahern then claims the line out. They set up the maul. Edinburgh defend the maul well, and Munster go to 1-out runners before Muncaster forces a knock on. Very good defence, and Edinburgh's defence tonight was excellent. They were able to stop Munster's maul at source, and then when Munster went to their big carriers, they were knocking them back. They were isolating them. They were forcing the knock-ons, getting over the ball, turning over or winning penalties. So good on defence. And their attack actually had a cutting edge to it that we haven't seen in a while from them as well. Then we have some strong carries from Gleeson, Wycherley and some other forwards that gets Munster within metres of the line. Then Coughlin goes to Nankivell, who crashes over under the post, converted by Billy Burns for 7 points to 3. And I'm pretty sure that was the only time that Munster led in the game. Edinburgh then using their kicking game to good effect. They're putting up really contestable kicks, and even if they're not winning it, whoever is knocking the ball on it doesn't matter because they're probably going to get a penalty from the resulting scrum. And Curry with a lovely kick over the top of the defence, and it goes out close to the Munster line. It was taken back into his own half, so it's not 50-22, but still a great kick all the same. And just showed how good Edinburgh were at spotting the space and turning that Munster defence as well. Munster then managed to clear it, but it allows Edinburgh to have good position on the edge of their 22. Tuipulotu then puts Muncaster through a gap. He finds Thomas in support, who goes over to score. He then converts his own try, 10 points to 7. Edinburgh then absolutely monster Munster in the scrum. They've got penalty advantage. Vellacott with a nice chip over the top. Shane McCarthy looks like he's got it covered, but as it bobbles over the try line, he kind of slips, overruns the ball, and then allows Curry to just come in behind him and dot down to score. And it was just one of those ones where you could see how frustrated he was with himself there, but just a very basic error, honestly, there, and not being able to just ground that ball. Thompson then converts from out wide for 17 points to 7. Decent lead for Edinburgh, and Munster really struggling at this stage, and didn't get much better for them for a long time. Another Edinburgh scrum penalty. They go up the line. Munster really need to sort it out to get themselves back into the game, and it wasn't until late on in the game that they kind of sorted out, but not it was still at the point where if Edinburgh needed to put that shove on, they could still win another penalty. Muncaster then carries well from a line out, then followed by Ashman with another line bending carry as well. They then go to the width to Curry, who runs for the line. We have a Timo check for possible double movement, but the on-field decision is tried. He's grounded it just on the line. And after the Timo review, pretty fair. Try stands. Can't really argue with that. Conversion is missed as 22.7. Munster then with a period of possession. Farrell a willing carrier, but Edinburgh hold them and then force a knock on from Nankivell. And Munster just kind of forcing things a little bit because not really going anywhere in attack. Another scrum penalty to Edinburgh up the line again. They go to a dummy maul. Then move to Ashman. It's a set move. Ashman then goes back inside to Curry, who's come, right in that gap between the end of the line out and the beginning of the rest of the defence. They've obviously spotted that, and he just goes cutting straight through. He pops it off to Bradbury to score, converted for 29-7, bonus point try, and that is half time. Munster then get an early penalty for Edinburgh not rolling away in that second half. They kick it up the line into 22. You feel like they really need an early score, but then Scannell overthrows the line out and Edinburgh clear. Just nothing going right for Munster. Credit to Edinburgh for putting them under pressure, but also, you've got to look at Munster in terms of the performance, not up to the level that they expect of themselves. Then a good hit on Curry from McCarthy gives Munster an attacking scrum. They have Stephen Archer on now, trying to kind of fix those problems in the scrum. But even before the scrum actually happens, they get pinged for incorrect binding. It's the second time. So the first time was a free kick. Now it's upgraded to a penalty. And nothing in the scrum is going their way. But then something does go their way. They score from a piece of luck. Thompson gets blocked down by Wycherley. Munster then flood into 22. They move it back inside for Nankivell, who shrugs off a tackle and goes over to score. That's converted for 29 points to 14. And that just kind of came out of nothing because Munster not really creating anything, but they did well. They kind of created a look there by just putting pressure on Thompson as he was kicking. Paddy Patterson then comes on at scrum half, and he's putting up decent contestable kicks for Munster, but the problem is, as I said earlier, any knock on is going to be a scrum and a possible penalty to Edinburgh, so not really helping the cause there. Then Archer swimming up the side of a maul, penalty to Edinburgh. They go to the corner, trying to kill the game off now at this stage. So better defence from Munster, and it forces them back out of the 22 and back to the 10-metre line. But then, just when you think the siege has been lifted, there's another McCarthy error, and this leads to Curry's hat-trick. Edinburgh just put a bomb into the 22, just kind of a speculative kick. McCarthy comes for it, doesn't get anywhere near it. It bounces, and Curry can't believe his luck. He just collects the loose ball, and over he goes to score that hat-trick try, converted for 36 points to 14. Some really decent stuff from Edinburgh, especially in the scrum, and the forwards really carrying well, but Munster just giving them a big helping hand as well. Munster then do get over for the third after a nice pass at the back from Ben O'Connor, for Ben O'Connor, to go over, converted for 34 points to 21. Then another scrum penalty for Edinburgh. Archer pinged this time. They go to the corner, but there's a neck roll and a clear out, and Munster able to get it out of the 22. But then they make a mess of the line out and almost give Edinburgh another try. Patterson fumbling and stumbling the ball back towards his own line. Munster then do manage to break upfield, as they kind of lift the latest siege. Patterson kicking into space behind the defence, but then McCann does just so well, isolated back there, fends off a couple of Munster tacklers and runs it out of his 22. Munster were just chomping at a bit, trying to isolate him, get that penalty. They were thinking, get that penalty, kick to the corner, we get a try. We've got maybe, a few minutes to, I think it was about maybe 10 minutes or almost 10 minutes to go. And then, they're back within, one score and it's game on. But McCann just kind of crushed those dreams by how well he got out of there. We didn't have a team mode check for a high hit on Butler by Harrison. It takes a while for him to get the actual right angle to show what actually happened. It's shoulder to head. He's upright, but it is a fairly passive tackle, and it's a yellow card. And can't disagree with that. It wasn't. I think it wasn't dangerous enough in terms of when you look at the mitigation, etc., to be a red card. Butler off for an HIA as well. In terms of yellow or red card, it didn't really matter because Edinburgh were going to finish the game with 14 anyway, like there's less than 10 minutes to go. But again, I think it was the right decision. Burns, then he's back on for Butler, who's off for that HIA, kicks the penalty up the line into the 22. Could have gone for a bit more distance, honestly. Munster, tiny sliver of hope for them. They go to the maul. Edinburgh managed to stop them after initial surge. Barron then breaks off, but he gets isolated. Edinburgh over the ball, win a penalty, and pretty much that is the game done at that stage. Munster then, they do win a rare scrum penalty up the line, looking for a try that would get them 2 bonus points. We've only got a couple of minutes left at this stage. Line out misfires, but Munster do manage to hold Edinburgh up in the tackle, force a scrum on the edge of 22. From that, then they spread it. It's very scrappy. Ball goes to ground, but doesn't go forward. They then go back to right. Crossfield kick finds Sean O'Brien, who scores Munster's bonus point try in the corner. Burns then, he's got the conversion to get another bonus point by bringing them back within 7, and he does land that. Full time is 34 points to 28. Okay, so we're going to have a quick look at the stats, and then we'll talk about each of the teams. Okay, so let me pull them up here. Let me see. Where is it here? There we go. Okay, so first of all, on attack, try scored 4 for Munster, 5 for Edinburgh, so try bonus point for both teams. Possession 55% to 45, but Edinburgh, doing a lot more with theirs than Munster did. Munster for a lot of the game kind of just going nowhere. Clean breaks then 12 for Munster and 7 for Edinburgh. But Munster making clean breaks, but not being able to finish them off. For the most part, defenders beaten then 13 for Munster and 22 for Edinburgh. So one thing that Munster did do well is, when they beat a defender, it was pretty much always a clean break, whereas Edinburgh were kind of working on it, like 3 defenders beaten for every 1 clean break. Offloads then 7 for Munster, 2 for Edinburgh. Some of the offloads, not the best in terms of, again, Munster just very disorganised and guys just offloading the ball for the sake of it at times, not really helping him. Then on defence, territory 54% for Munster and 46% for Edinburgh, but again, Edinburgh vastly the more efficient of the two teams. Number of tackles 124 for Munster, 170 for Edinburgh, and Edinburgh making a lot more tackles, but Munster didn't really tire them out. For them to be able to come back over the top of them. They did come back obviously within 7 points, but it never it felt like a real long shot for Munster to actually win the game. Missed tackles then 22 to 13. Tackle success 82% for Munster, isn't brilliant, but it's not terrible either. And Edinburgh kind of right there on the sweet spot, 86%, where we kind of expect teams to be. Turnovers 1 then, 7 for Munster and 6 for Edinburgh. Onto kicking then, kicks retained, 4 for Munster, 9 for Edinburgh. And again, Edinburgh's kicking game far superior felt. Penalties conceded then, 10 for Munster, 9 for Edinburgh. Munster conceded at least 7 penalties in the scrum. So like the rest of the game pretty clean, but scrum absolutely killed them in that game. Then on to individual players, obviously Matt Curry with his hat trick, and Nankerville with a double for Munster as well. Then successful carries, John Hodnett 8 for Munster. He was a willing runner for them, but not really the impact that we normally expect from him. Magnus Bradbury then for Edinburgh with 5. He had an excellent game. Clean breaks, John Hodnett with 2 and Matt Curry with 3. Defenders beaten, Nankerville 4 and Ross McCann 4. 2 of those were right at the death there, where he pretty much snuffed out any chance of a dream comeback for Munster. Meters made then, Nankerville was 70 and Curry with 39. Offloads, Tom Farrell with 4 and Ben Muncaster with 1. Farrell, a lot of his offloads were kind of carrying it into contact, gets held up and then kind of pops the ball over the top, and then the player getting it, not coming onto the ball, has to kind of switch it to someone else, and there's no real momentum coming from those. So although, he kept the ball alive, Munster couldn't really take advantage of any of those. On defence then, number of tackles, Wycherley with 11, Bradbury with 20. Guy, had a brilliant, shift for them. Turnovers 1, then Nankerville with 2 and Muncaster with 1. Now let's talk about each of the teams. So we start with Edinburgh. Massive win for them. That their season really looked like it was drifting away from them. And they look like maybe one of the teams that was going to miss out on the playoffs. Still not guaranteed to be in there. Like one win, is not going to do that for them. But it's a great response to that loss against Zebre. Kicking tactics were spot on. Scrum so dominant, very aggressive in defence. Hamish Watson, Muncaster, Bradbury, all standouts. The front row needs to get, massive credit for how they monstered Munster as well, especially, when you look at the starters, like you had Venter, Ashman and Hill, right, as that 1, 2, 3 for them, and those 3 boys were brilliant and carried well in the loose as well. Good work around the rucks. Curry, he got man of the match, in the back of his hat trick. And you have to think about that. Like 2 of the tries were gifts, and 2 of them from McCarthy as well, pretty much. But still, if you score 3 tries, you're going to get man of the match. That's just the way it goes. That's the rule almost. Honestly though, he's pretty dangerous, otherwise, like it wasn't just his try scoring, some really good carries other than that. And I think certainly his performance would have put him in the conversation for that. But I think if he hadn't scored 3 tries, you'd probably see someone like Bradbury actually get the man of the match for that game. But certainly a really good performance from him. And, he took his tries well too. Ashman, certainly outstanding. Thomas was decent as well, and lots of other players as well, putting in great performance for them. And, now the thing is, they've got to go and back this up and maybe go on a bit of a run as well to, they can't keep yo-yoing, especially given the fact that, they've been outside the top 8 for a while now. Definitely got to, go on a run and make this count, don't go and have another silly loss and just kind of wipe out all the good that you did here. For Munster then, really struggled to get a full foothold in the game. So poor in the scrum. Line-out malfunctioned a few times as well. They were more direct in the second half, and that helped them to get back within 7 at the end. Excuse me. But still, there's a hell of a lot for them to improve on. They've got the knockout stages of the Champions Cup and a run-in of the URC awaiting them after the Six Nations. And, if they're playing like this, it's going to be an early exit in Europe for them, and, a disappointing end to the season overall, I think. So definitely got to pick things up and sort out those issues that they were having, while they can now in the next couple of weeks before, they return to action. But yeah, no matter how poor they were, you have to give massive credit to Edinburgh for their performance as well. Okay, so that's the end of that one. So let me know what you think down in the comments.